Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Mike's Moment of. This week, I have two extra special guests on the show. First is Michael Holgate. Now, Michael, I've known him since we're 11 or 12. We met in first form at Wolmer's Boys, and we've done so much together. We've written over 50 songs together, under the name Joy Mechanics. You can find that on all the platforms. And we started the Gungo Walk Festival together as well. Michael is an author. He's a playwright. I've acted in his plays, his musicals. He's written about 3 books, I think. There's one of them that the first one was self-published. I'm not sure if you can find it online. But then there's also his fiction, Night of the Indigo. It's on Macmillan Caribbean. You might have to definitely look for that. And then a book he's co-written with Conroy Wilson, who you heard on the second episode of this show, of this podcast. And it's called Your GPA Empowerment Guide. And that's on Amazon and in bookstores. And Michael has written musicals, Garvey the Musical, Dead Left, to name a few. He's the artistic director of the Ashe company, and we're also in Little People and Ashe together. And then there's Tami Chin Mitchell. I mean, everybody knows Tami, but Tami, her podcast is Tami Tackles Everything. She, used to have her own business. Now it's her YouTube channel, her YouTube show, Meet the Mitchells, with her whole family, which is awesome. We knew Tami when Michael and I were in Little People and Tami was in Little People. Tami and Tess were in Little People. And it turns out that we were the big brothers for Tami and Tess. That's why we call each other brother and sister. I'm so happy to have both of them on to talk about this story that I wrote and, what it means. Every time we get together, it's like, it's just, the conversation is really always uplifting and positive. And, we talk about dreams, we talk about, hopes and goals and the future, and the stuff keeps coming true. So sit back or, jog or whatever you do when you listen to podcasts. And I'm going to just cue the music. Here we go. I'm Michael Sean Harris, and you're listening to Mike's Moment of, a weekly podcast in which I, along with my guests, share our various interests in moments of inspiration, truth, life, technology, culture, and more. I hope you're entertained and informed, and that you feel inspired to join me again and again in my moments of. Welcome to this wonderful special episode of Mike's Moment of, and I have a couple of my good up friends, like a couple of my best friends. Michael Holgate is one, and Tami.
Hi.
How you doing, my love?
I'm good.
Mike.
I don't have a last name. We just get
Tami Chin Mitchell.
Everybody knows you.
Michael Holgate.
These one of those things.
It's like Cher.
Yeah.
It's like,
no.
it's like
goes
Cher.
without saying.
Yeah, Janet.
Yeah.
Janet. They go what? Janet Reno. No, they go Janet Jackson.
It's true.
If you're nasty.
All right.
Yeah.
Tami.
Tami.
It could be a thing, guys.
Tami. I think it already is though. Tami from Meet the Mitchells. Right?
That's funny.
All right, so we're talking about a few things. Actually, it's going to be a little bit of a lime, but
yeah.
but we're also talking about Mirren and the journey to Terra Janeiro. So when I wrote that, I think I sent it to both of you, but I sent it to Tami early on before anybody else even knew. And she started...
Because I'm special.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think I just came first in that race. Best friend over there.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you.
That's all right.
Hey, we're having a multicultural barbecue right here.
Yes.
Chinese, Indian, black guy, and actually we all have a little bit of
And we all
something.
have a little bit of
Yeah,
each.
because
Yeah.
my grandfather is Indian, so I'm like Quarter-Coolie.
Yeah.
Just don't show
My
us,
grandfather mixed too with all manner thing. All of us are mixed. I think only my grandmother maybe. She was the only one who was like oh no, both my grandmothers were, one was full white, one was full Chinese. Is a grandfathers that mixed up the pot nicely.
And I love to tell people that genetics don't even work that way. Like what you present is like 5% of what the genes are.
Exactly.
Probably even less.
Exactly.
So.
And he used to tell us in high school that we're a multicultural barbecue. Well, he's a multicultural barbecue. Not mongrels.
I love it. No, nothing like that. Yeah. Nothing like that.
Yes. Barbecues are tasty. Anyway, we're going
yes. Terra Janeiro.
That's a tangent. Yes. All right. So yes, Mirren and the journey to Terra Janeiro, and it's all based on row your boat.
Genius.
Yay! Thanks.
Genius. That's what I thought when you sent it to me, and I read it for the first time. I thought, genius. I couldn't believe that you found something so simple. Something that, what was very striking to me is that none of us know how we learned it or when we learned it.
That's so true.
And it got me thinking, did we even learn it here?
You're talking about aliens.
But it's a song that we don't know ourselves without.
That's
and
true.
so when you put that meaning to it now, I was like, oh, wow. They just became so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I saw it, I said to myself, this is really, really beautiful because it's a metaphysical story and there's just so much to it. And then when I heard a reading of it with Michael's voice, I was just like, wow, it's just so impactful for me. So it's just a powerful, beautiful story, well told, well read, well done. Yeah.
The breakdown of the song was what really got me. And I mean, if we even take it a little further back, it's so in line with what I believe.
Right.
It's so in line with this idea that, there is some choosing to be here. Mm-hmm. Just like I do believe that, the essence of who we are is long before we have this physical experience and long after.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you put it in such an eloquent way, but so simple that I read it to my kids. I read it to them as a bedtime story. I know that I have the recording. I play it for them at night, and it seems like just such a smart way to introduce this concept through this story. And it just I think the word that keeps coming up for me is resonance. Mm-hmm. And there's something in it that just resonated with me and what I believe my journey was. And then comes, row your boat. Mm-hmm. And when you broke that down about why, I was just like, yep, okay, I get it.
So you are Mirren.
I am Mirren.
Yeah.
And it's so funny you chose that name because one of my best friends from high school is called Mirren.
See that?
And she's a girl. She's not like in this story. And to this day, Mirren and I keep in touch. And I always thought it was the most beautiful name, Mirren. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know who Helen Mirren was then. Mirren, that was my point of reference. So when I saw that you chose the name Mirren, I was even more connected to it because it's a name I love, But we all are Mirren, aren't we?
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Yeah. One thing that came to me when I saw it, I said, no, Mike definitely needs to be writing more of these stories. Amen. And then even when I heard the voice again, I said, no, Mike definitely needs to be reading more of these stories.
We just said it. I said audiobooks, bro. Yeah. Like you need to be getting
seriously.
Into that. Yeah. And it had just it's so nice because your version of the way you told the story, it struck up so much imagination for Jax who listened to it.
Really?
Because then he can place characters and, and it's just gentle, but in his way, that he hears stories and, all that stuff. There's just a world of possibility with this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the breakdown, I can't help but coming back to the breakdown. And I'd love us to talk about the breakdown, if that's okay.
Sure.
So the row your boat.
Row your boat.
Sorry, just the row.
Yes,
row has its own. Row. Your boat has a separate breakdown.
That's right. Yeah.
So the row.
Take action. Yeah.
Take action.
Yeah. Do something.
I spoke about that just today, like how important it is to take action, especially if it is small action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People do not credit action, small steps, the way they should. Everybody's looking for the quantum leap. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no. Small steps, one small step even. Like, people aren't joking when they tell us one small step. They're not just, blowing smoke. Like, this is a real thing. And I realize that people are often seeing the finished product of something that they forget that every big company you see today started with a small step.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, some may not have. I mean, some may have had this and that, but even the person who helped them to do that, oh, there's Atlas. You may hear my kids interrupting every now and again. This is real life.
Yep.
But it's just important to take that step, and then your boat.
Right.
I didn't even know your boat was a message.
But even with the steps, I mean, nobody but you really needs to know that that step is taken.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't need to know.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a step that you put on Facebook or IG, you know.
The step might be to make a list today.
Exactly.
You know, the step is just to take some action. You know, and it's my favorite quote is how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
And so how do you build your dream whatever? One step at a time. And that step might seem insignificant and small, but it's necessary.
Right.
You know?
You know, this conversation is particularly powerful for me right now because so often I find that I'm always thinking of the big overall thing that needs to be done. And because I'm thinking about that, I don't even take that first step.
Yes, it will paralyze you.
Paralyzes me completely. And I'm just like, okay, I can't bother focus on that today. Because if I focus on that today, I'll never get it done anyway. So let me focus on something else. Yeah, it just feels too big.
Something I know I can do.
Yeah, and something is totally irrelevant sometimes and not on the trajectory towards my big goals. So, but if I had just done that same amount of time that it would take me to do this thing that is insignificant, I could have taken that time and done a small thing towards my goal.
Yeah.
You know? So,
it's so true.
You know, one of the things I realized about getting the stuff done is that sometimes the thing you need to do isn't even the thing that's related to the big goal. Because there's some things that you have that you wanted to get done, that needed to be done and you hadn't done. And once you do them, it frees up that space for you to get the other things done. So just do what you can do when you can do it.
And sometimes you hold on to things that you haven't done as an excuse for not doing other things. So like me, I have this big project that I really just need to finish. But I use it as an excuse. So I'm holding on to it. Oh God, I have this thing to do and I haven't done it yet. So there are these smaller things that are important but that I need to do. So I can't do them today because I have this big thing. But I'm not working on the big thing either.
Well, can I ask you something?
I'm just going to out you with the big thing.
Do you think that we...
This is PhD.
That's a big thing. Do you think that we are addicted to the narrative, oh, I'm so busy?
Yes, I am for sure.
I can't. I don't have enough time. I blah blah blah. Like, what is that? And you know,
self-sabotage.
It is.
It's self-sabotage.
It's a stalling technique too.
Yes, it's a stalling technique.
Yes,
so you don't want to call yourself. We're not procrastinating. We're just busy.
We're busy
doing what? Nothing.
Busy being busy.
Yeah, busy being busy.
And I think it's something that we do have to look at because you're literally get in your own way.
Yeah.
And just think about the word sound power. I'm so busy, I'm so tired, I'm so, there's never enough time. Well then, and so it is.
Right, exactly.
And so it is.
Exactly, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I had to force myself at some point, and I'm sure I vacillate back and forth, but I had to...
You do what?
I
vacillate?
I seesaw.
Is that a cousin to Vaseline?
No, sir.
I've never heard that word. Vacillate.
Yeah, so between just saying, okay, I'm not going to stall and say I'm busy, I'm just going to say yes. Let me just say yes. I'm just going to say yes.
You're having your year of yes.
And then I just, yeah. So I go through these periods of I'm just going to say yes. Because it feels like a habit now that I'm going, I don't know about the time. And I'm building up this habit and this pattern and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But what I did at a certain point in my life, I think just coming out of my teens, like 19, so I made a decision that I'm going to say yes to everything that people asked me to do, whether I could do it or not. And fortunately, I did, because that helped me to build up a lot of capacities that I didn't know that I had before. Somebody asked me to come and choreograph a dance. I was like, yes, of course. And then I went and I did it. And I learned to do it. Somebody asked me to come and teach a dance class. Yes, of course. Why not? I've been taking dance. And I kept on doing that. Write a script, write a play, write a book, that type of stuff. And so I just kept saying yes. And as I said yes, it's as if the world was saying yes back to me. And then I just, so it flowed. So right now it's kind of difficult for me to say no when I'm so busy that I do need to say no. That's another pattern.
Yes, you need to go the other way now. I get it. And say yes to yourself first.
And say yes to myself first. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I'll talk to you. See, you're such a closet psychologist. Not even psychologist. No, because psychologists will tell you stuff and allow you to talk through stuff and work through stuff. But what I like about talking with you is your insight. You see, you have a thing for seeing through bullshit. You have a gift for. No, it's true. You have a fix this because
I vacillate through bullshit.
Yeah. And just go straight to it.
Yeah.
No, but that's really
Thank you.
it's a really nice. So I love talking to you because there's a fearlessness with which you do it because because I think because and this is not what it's about, is it? But anyway, all right. So it's the relatedness. You do it in such a way that it doesn't feel like an attack at all. You do it with laughter and you do it with a certain type of candor and a certain type of sincerity, and there's a way in which you don't care about it. It's just said with such truth and sincerity that I don't care about it either. I'm just hearing this thing and I'm just going, okay, yeah, all right, fix that.
Fix that shit. Yeah, curse on it, can we?
Fix it.
No, let's not curse.
I'll work it
No,
out.
but I really appreciate that
Thank you,
about
my
you.
friend.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's why I love when we get together because I feel like we do that for each other.
Yeah,
That's true.
indeed.
We
indeed,
hold that
indeed.
space for each
That's
other
true,
where we
that's
can
true.
like say, hey, I think you're making up excuses about that in the most loving way without having to
True.
say those words.
Right.
True.
Right.
But
You
you
know?
are everybody's big mama and big sister. You know that, right?
So funny because I'm sitting with my two big brothers.
Right.
Yeah, but you are still everybody's big mama
All right
and
now.
big sister.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it.
It's true. It's
I'm
true.
going to
That's
take
true.
it. I'm going to
There's something
take
you
it.
said that put up an image in my head. Is that the universe is this group of people just going, all right, so what are you going to decide? What are you going to decide? We're just waiting. What are you going to decide?
Yeah.
No. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
No. Then,
Yeah.
No, that's not for you. Yes. Oh, all right, cool. Here's
That's
how you
for
do
you.
it.
Yes.
Here's how you do it.
Yeah.
You know?
No joke.
There's a statement that I love. I don't remember where I heard it from, but it just says, God wants for you what you want for yourself.
Ooh.
And when I got that, it's just like, So I don't have to be thinking like, oh, is this too big or is this too small or
No, he
is this
wants
in the
it for
right path?
you.
No, God wants for you what you want for yourself. And anything you can hold to with integrity and sincerity and know that this is something for good for me and for others, then can't fail.
Yeah. It reminds me of the that line from the Alchemist about the universe conspiring to give you your desires.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like
same thing.
But something that struck me recently, which I didn't really get, was that you do have to ask. It's this that's the step. Like you have to name it.
Right.
You really do have to say what it is.
You have to decide,
Because
I want this thing.
I believe that, when we talk about God, when we talk about the universe, there's this part of me that thinks, Tessie always says God is a gentleman and he'll let you go first.
Okay.
But you must go
that's nice.
first,
That's nice, yeah.
And then if we are truly co-creating,
Right.
we have to have a say in what we're co-creating about. And so I think there's something powerful in even what you just said, because it just brought it right back home. God wants for you what you want for yourself. What do you want for yourself? And people always say they know what they want. And you ask them right then and there, well, what do you want? Well,
Yeah.
And so I really encourage people to take some time to be clear about what it is that they want and say it like you say your name.
Right.
When somebody asks you what you want, you're supposed to say it like, hi, I am Tami Chin Mitchell. I am 37 years old and I was born on June 14th. Like it's supposed to just come out of
Right.
your mouth like your name, your age, your birthday. When
I was doing the master's degree, they used to have us do a thing called an elevator pitch. So we had to do this one sentence that introduces yourself and your project. And so if there's a potential funder or somebody there in an elevator ride, you could say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm about.
Pitch
just
perfect.
like that. Pitch perfect. So and you could see the process people had to go through because either they knew what they want and they wouldn't admit what they wanted to do, or they weren't sure. They hadn't spent enough time kind of working it out. So the process of having to present this to people every week, going, this is who I am and this is what I want. Made it very clear because you kept reading out the stuff that wasn't there, didn't belong there.
I do this practice now where I write down the 10 things. It says the 10 dreams I made happen. And every day I didn't even know that it would take me so long to figure out what the 10 things were in my life that I want to see happen. And I write them down every single day, and every day it's just become so much clearer. So like you just said, some things get weeded out. I'm like, actually I don't really want that. That's what I thought I wanted, but now when I think about this, I actually want it this way. And I just have this unabashed like take on it where it's like, I'm dreaming big.
Right.
I'm just going to go for it because this is me on a piece of pen and paper. And this is between me, God, and the universe. So ain't nobody can judge me here. So if I want to say I want to see X, Y, and Z happen, then why not?
Right.
So many people dumb it down.
That you want for that day or generally?
No, in general in my life. And I write it down every single day. I mean, one tell you, I say enough of them. I started back in September. I dropped the practice over the Christmas. And I want to say I picked it back up 3 weeks ago. And I was shocked. This is why I picked it back up. Because I was so shocked to see how much of it is coming to fruition.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, whoa. There was something about writing it down every day that drummed it back into my own brain.
Right.
Yeah, I think of it like a magnet. It's like a magnet, when, the different elements or particles inside the metal are, if they're disjointed, it can't magnetize anything. But if you get another magnet and you just keep straight, scraping it along, eventually you'll make it become a magnet because it straightens up. It keeps put everything in alignment.
So
the reading of it is like this, pulling it
it's
along.
true. And the writing of it.
That's a powerful
Yo, do not put down the power of putting pen to paper. I know so we have all of this technology thing now and we can text each other with it. Write down your dreams. Write down your goals. Write down your plans. You see behind me here? This is the thing when we write down everything when we have to do. I have a book when we write it down to come and believe in the writing.
I actually find I as a writer, I used to fret about that because I used to say, if I'm not using the pen and the, writing on the book, in the book or on the paper and stuff like that, that connection between the hand and the brain, which gives it another additional layer for memory and power and stuff like that, is not there. But I found that just typing it into my phone also has, I don't think it has the same.
No, it does have effect though.
It has an effect,
we're evolving, aren't we, as well?
Yeah,
and so we're learning to use this process,
True.
For my morning show, every morning I write it on my phone. Every morning. And I've built habit around that.
Right.
If I'm writing something that I would want to include in a book, I'm at my computer because I type faster than I can write. And the brain is going 10 miles an hour.
Right.
But I journal. I still have my gratitude journal. I write down those. So I still have a place for it. God, long time when I write, like a crab to kill me in the writing. I say, whoever does write, I'm in him.
But you write so beautifully though. I mean, not your crab toe writing.
Oh, right.
Your writing is
Which
really
is
beautiful.
something I didn't know.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know I could write. And then it wasn't until, I don't know how it happened. But we just start write. I never fancied myself a great songwriter. But for some reason, I really like writing about whatever it is, It's just what it is.
And this brings me to think of that thing. I think it's a book that Mike gave me, actually. I don't know if it was the talent code, but, somebody was talking about the 10,000 hours.
Oh, yeah.
It's a talent code.
It's a talent code.
Oh, yeah.
And now you give me about this.
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours. And it just goes to show that there are times that you are putting in time with those 10,000 hours and you don't know.
Amen.
All of those times that you are writing things in a different way, but it's a focused way towards a creative product or a creative end. You're putting in the time.
Amen.
And you're getting the skills that you needed to become proficient. So now you can just, at the bat of an eye or a blink of an eye or a drop of a hat.
I liken it to, even now with the YouTube channel, I've heard people say, like I've talked to people and they're like, oh, but you're lucky though because, XYZ and you don't have to struggle to get it out there like XYZ. And I say, Wayne and I have put in our 10,000 hours.
That's right. Yeah.
And when I said that to somebody, they said, oh, yes, you have to get to 4,000 watch hours. I said, no. I said, you're missing my point. I said, we've put in our 10,000 hours over the years, maybe 20 at this point, to be able to get to this point where people were ready to receive that. So we didn't just land in this spot and we're not lucky.
No.
You know what I mean? It's work that you
it's
maybe haven't seen.
Of things that you have been doing.
Yeah. I think about the radio show. Sometimes I'm like, how may I do this? I think about the podcast that set me up for it a year before.
That's right.
That I started to practice doing that. And I think that the radio show is not even here about me learning radio. It's about organizing my time, showing up consistently, areas where I needed to be strengthened in because I know it's for something else. It's not just for this.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of getting older.
Yeah.
That you know that nothing is wasted. Nothing is a waste of time.
Even those little things back in the, that you're in a crowd that you said, and they say, look how this turned back now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
Let's go back to row your boat.
Your boat. I'm ready for your boat. We need to try and break this down because I think we done did 30 minutes.
I know, right? This might be like three different episodes. No, but yeah, so your boat.
Oh.
Kind of,
That sucker punched me.
Really? Because it's like, take care of your own business first.
Your own.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's your life and it's your way. And stop trying to row Karen's boat.
That's right. Because Karen is trying to row everybody else's.
Or Wayne's boat, or Jackson's boat, or Atlas's boat. Like, it reminded me that even my children have come here in their own boats.
Yeah, and they have their own compass.
Yep. And so that was very poignant for me to see your boat, row your boat.
Yeah, your children are not your children. They are the evidence of life's longing for itself. Somebody said that.
Khalil Gibran. Yeah, the prophet.
The prophet.
He surely said it.
Yeah.
I can't quote it, but I read it. So that was profound to me too. And a very good reminder that, we have our own ships to steer.
Yeah.
And we're not in charge of anybody else's. Same way nobody in charge of mine.
That's right.
Yeah.
And on a very, very basic level, you kind of, when you're playing it for your kids, you kind of teaching them is that you don't meddle in people's business and don't try and control nobody.
Nobody's emotions.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's not a lonely thing. Some people might hear that and be like, oh, that's actually like a little, not sad, but just like, you only care about yourself. Yes. We need to learn that a lot sooner. And it's not that we don't have compassion for others and that we don't care about other people, but I think we're learning too late what this self-love, putting yourself as a priority really means. And the only thing I can liken it to is when you're flying in an airplane and they say to put on your mask first before anybody else's.
Yeah.
You know?
Take care of yourself first. You can't take care of anybody else.
It's simple.
You can't give what you don't have.
Yeah. Gently.
Move, be, do gently in this world. Yeah, because I think, and I know in the past, sometimes even our parents, thought, I need to address this, and I need to let them know that they can't do this or this is going to hurt them down and it backfired in a way, and everything you really kind of have to have some kind of care and as human beings, we are taught to be extremely hard and harsh on ourselves.
Yep.
We're taught to be critical of ourselves. So, even the people who are, a little bit more loving and gentle with themselves, we kind of look strange at them. You're too conceited or you're too narcissistic. Some of them are, but but seriously, we are taught that you have to be this. We criticize ourselves so much more than the people outside are criticizing us, and they're looking at us. Just like somebody looked at me yesterday and said, I saw a picture of you when you were blah blah blah, and you were so cute when you were young. And I said to myself, okay,
what that's supposed to mean?
But what the other thing that came to me, I just reflected and I said, but when I was that age, I did not feel cute.
Right.
I did not feel cute. I did not like how I looked. I thought that I was too skinny. I thought I was too this or too that. My forehead too big. My mother used to tell me I'm forehead big like broad like Causeway Bridge. But it too, and all of these things were in my head, and so I was not being gentle with myself.
Right.
So we have to learn to be gentle with ourselves so that we can learn to love ourselves more. Because I think that we're born naturally loving ourselves, but we're taught to not love ourselves because it seems as if loving yourself is a big crime, or loving yourself will make you egotistical or narcissistic and stuff like that. But loving yourself will prevent you from narcissism, because narcissism is really a kind of reversal of self-love. It's self-hate that you have to project this thing. We're getting a little too philosophical, but
no, I love that.
But so it's kind of like that,
and
gently.
We're having to teach ourselves that because we had no example of what it looked like to love self. Because of all of those things. So that's why I'm saying we're learning it so late, because we've now cracked the code and said, oh, no. We have to be gentle with ourselves.
We have to.
Our parents came from the school of, we have to toughen up our kids for this world. We have to make resilient people out of them. We have to make sure that they can face this world and manage this world. And there's still lots of people who feel that way now, raising their kids, and it's a very tricky cycle, because I think about my boys, for example, who have the same emotions as I always say we're raising our boys and our girls too differently. Girls are allowed to cry it out and they're allowed to feel their I watch moms with their daughters. Oh honey, it's okay. Yes, sometimes we make mistakes. Don't worry, Your son cries. Stop crying like a girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop it. These same boys who have the same exact emotions,
through
the same. The other night I was watching a show with Jackson. He looks at me and he goes, Mom, I feel like I'm gonna cry. And I go for it.
Right.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
how harsh is it to like say, hey, you're a boy, so you can only experience anger.
One spectrum.
You can only
spectrum.
you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So
It's
that's why I'm saying the
ridiculous.
cycle is messed up.
Absolutely.
So from early we have to be showing our children that gentleness is not weakness either.
Right.
That sensitivity is not weakness.
Yes.
That you have this. These emotions aren't just emotions. It's your guidance system.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It can
yes, yes.
tell you when you're in and out of alignment.
Absolutely.
And so we get to explore it,
Yeah.
So I feel like as parents and as guardians and as aunts and uncles, brothers, we have a duty to be gentle with ourselves so that we can actually pass it on.
Yeah.
I see that with my brother and his two kids, a girl and a boy, 7 and 9 or something like that. And the girl gets all the, cuddling and stuff like that. And the boy gets the... And sometimes I have to say, no. So I've taken that. I'm kind of more cuddling with the boy, and then
because he needs it.
Yes, he does. And then he has started doing it now. So my brother has started doing it now because it's just like him saying, "Oh no, I'm not going to let you be more gentle and kind to my son." And I love that.
Because
and he
the
is
world
just being,
is going to toughen him up.
of course,
This is a fact
and
of
what
life.
they need is a reminder that there is love
And
so
safety.
strong and safety, so
Right,
powerful
right.
inside of me that whatever comes at me will not harm me.
Amen.
Yeah.
Will not harm me.
I'm glad you can do that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And kudos to your brother.
Yeah.
But taking up on the cues.
Yes, it's true.
I'm going to talk to him too.
Yeah.
But I have to grow up.
I know. So the other part of being a gentle though is that what is it? The Bible that says it. There's a season for everything.
Yes.
We're all in these different cycles and seasons, and some of them are really long cycles, and some of them are very short. And sometimes in the middle of these cycles, things might not look perfect, and you might not feel perfect. So you can't always be judging every step of this cycle, and other people who don't even know the cycle you're in can't be judging your cycle for you either. So sometimes they need to step back, mind their own business, and if they're gonna get involved, then be gentle with it.
Yeah.
Because it's unfair. It's really completely unfair.
It is.
And life feels better when I'm going to go into the gently down the stream.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's gently down the stream. Life feels better. Life flows better when there's an ease. When you're not fighting. It's just like
when you let go of the oars.
When you let go of the oars. Yeah.
And let the stream have its way
let
with
the
you.
stream have its way. Yeah. This. And I love that from Abraham Hicks.
Yes.
That kind of
Me
just
too. I love
downstream. Go
when
downstream.
Abraham says, nothing you want is upstream
Nothing
anyway.
you want.
I
is
love that.
upstream.
I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
nothing I want is upstream.
Yeah. It's not easy to believe though,
It's not, because the salmon are going that
the salmon
way.
going that way.
Someone needs to tell them.
Yeah.
And I love the, speaking of Abraham, the idea that it's such a fast moving stream.
Yeah.
Even when we hear this, we think of it as this like,
It's like
because of
easy
our
flowing,
understanding
yeah.
of time, space, reality. But the idea that it's such a fast moving stream that if you put your finger in it would break off. Now imagine trying to get into that and head upstream.
Right?
And how much work
Yeah.
That's a
and
battle.
stress that would be. I love the idea.
Unnecessary work, yeah.
Down the stream. Down the stream is where we
Everything
want
you
to
want
go.
is down the stream.
I love that.
I love it.
And so it allows us to take up the oars. And it's not to say we won't head upstream sometimes, because sometimes the salmon look real good going upstream.
Yeah.
And we're like, that salmon must be going up for something. And
Yeah,
I need
exactly.
it too. I need it too. I'm a salmon. And so we think we want something upstream, and the truth is that nothing we want is up there. But it doesn't, as long as we remind ourselves to just let go a little bit and head back downstream.
Right.
And I love that. Downstream, you don't have to row. It does all the work
easy,
for you.
easy,
you
easy
can
going.
you can just let go of the oars.
You can chill and go to the merrily.
Yeah, and go to the
And just
merrily,
be happy.
merrily.
Yeah.
That was so genius. How you said merrily, 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 merrily. We
Yeah.
said it 4 times because
It's so important.
we need y'all to be merry.
Yes. Yeah.
That when you said that part, I think that's when the part of my brain just go, all right now.
All right.
Fired off.
Because I just needed to remember. Like, I love that. It was like 4 times. We said it 4 times because that's so important.
Yeah.
And isn't life easier when we're just merry?
Yeah, it's a dream.
Yeah. Even when we have to pretend a little bit to be merry.
Yeah.
And I would transition to yes, I am actually quite happy.
Yes. Merry is good. Merry is not every day, all the time. But when we're merry, we're going downstream, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
So merrily.
Yeah.
I'll add another merrily.
And the truth is that stress and focusing on the not so happy things, it doesn't make the not so happy things
any better.
It don't make it disappear.
Yeah.
You know, so why not be merry? Why not be happy while you're going through whatever it is that you're going through? Because not doing that is not going to help anyway.
Yeah.
I heard this wonderful line. There's this wonderful line from A Course in Miracles. And it says, when I am certain of the outcome, I can wait without anxiety or fear. And I used to think, you can't be merry about something you're not happy about. You know, like how can I have this situation in front of me and look at it how can I be happy about that? Yeah. And when I read that line that said, because everything, you know, there's an outcome that we're waiting on or looking for or seeing. And so I had this particular situation that there's nothing merry about it. But I realized in that one line, I could be merry about the outcome that I was certain I would see. And so it allowed me in the interim to wait without anxiety or fear, which is part of the trouble with any situation. It's not that we're not happy about it, but there's so much anxiety and fear wrapped up in it that we don't know how to detach from it. And that one idea that I could just instead turn my attention to the outcome, being positive, that I could just let go of all of the feelings in between. And it was a life-changing thing for me. Because the situation seems so big and so daunting and so scary. It's still happening right now. But when I can be certain of the outcome, I can wait without anxiety or fear.
Be anxious about nothing. But with prayer and supplication, make your request known unto the Lord.
You see, again, you have to make your request known unto the Lord.
You have to take that.
You have to say that something there.
And isn't that the power of choice as well? Because if God was just giving you all of these things and then forcing it down your throat, you probably wouldn't be enjoying it. You know, what you enjoy is the sense that you want something and then it comes. Because even if you didn't know that you wanted it and it was just coming to you and you wouldn't appreciate it as much.
Absolutely.
So that is part of the thing, that power of choice, that wanting something, going for it.
And then the life is but a dream.
Life is but a dream.
Yeah, because this is a manifestation thing, you know. So everything that you're dreaming of, that you're happy about, and you're letting it flow, that is what you're gonna experience in your life. That's the Terra Genero. That's where you get to.
Yeah, and we'll do it many times, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Over and over and over. Yeah.
And the point is that life is but a dream, because right now we are here and we think that we have these physical bodies, but we probably are just ideas and thoughts that's been physicalized inside of one of our minds or all of our minds together.
Who knows what we really are?
Who knows? And so because we don't know
for sure,
why don't we just enjoy it?
Yeah.
What's the point of being here and then being sad? What's the point of being here and not going downstream? What's the point of being here?
what's the point of being here and not being here?
Exactly. You have to be here. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's it.
It's true.
But then the thing as well of
that's a writer's mind.
The thing of it being around as well, you know, with this song where you can come in at different points.
All right, that they say you slap me away again.
Yeah.
When you didn't mention that part there. You know, me line up everybody in the yard and I say, come.
Say, you start.
All right, you know. That blew my mind. In dance, I call it a canon.
Yes.
Right?
Canon,
Yeah.
So I didn't know the musical term for it.
They call it a canon, depending on what it is. But they call it a canon in music as well. But it's around is a type of canon.
But when I realized that had no beginning, no ending.
Yeah.
I think my amygdala, what they call it?
Amygdala.
My amygdala exploded, honey. My amygdala was verklempt.
And it's the fact that everybody's song is a part of this big
thing,
you know?
And never ending.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Genius.
And you come in at your own point, but it still fits in.
It fits right in. Yeah.
That was genius.
Yeah.
I thought the story was done, and I was like, genius. And then you mentioned it's around, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Never ending.
I wonder who wrote that thing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't think anybody did. I think
dropped in by
somebody
aliens.
in the cloud city made that happen.
It's
not a joke. It was genius, and you had a moment of what I believe is just divine inspiration.
I would say yes.
Yeah,
because
and you are certainly like, you know, further proof to me that this thing, intuition, it's real. It's real, and it's something I wish we could teach in school. You know, how to follow that intuition, how to hear it, how to know what it is. You know, allowing our children to make mistakes so that they can develop their intuition. It's so that they can hear their own guidance.
And trust themselves.
Trust themselves. And even if they make mistakes, good, I know a better way. You know, but that intuition, something there. I promise you, the more I tune into that, the more I feel like we can't make no mistake. Because now I know nothing is a mistake.
Right.
Exactly.
What a relief.
Exactly. Some of the things that happen to you, and then you say, oh God, why did that happen? And then you say, oh my God, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know?
And how many times have we all had that feeling where, you know, you're like, yo, you know, so I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't better take this on, you know. But it's a dangling carrot. It looks shiny and it's pretty, and boy, should I just, And you know, people don't realize that they can actually train their intuition. Like, they can build it up. Start with simple things like, should I go left or right?
I do that all the time.
All the time.
I do that all the time. So here's what I do. I do this thing where I say, okay, so if I want to know if I must go in that direction or that direction, or if I have an idea, a decision about two different things, I just think of arrows. I say, all right, and I see like an arrow, a big arrow with light going in that direction, or a skinny arrow. So which one is it? And I just go like that.
Oh, that's so easy.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and if it's a decision between, you know, listen to what this person says or that person says, or something like this. And the arrows with the more.
I'm going to use that.
And then the arrows start changing up on me. And so like sometimes it's a big blue arrow and then another red arrow. And I say, what does that
Red
mean?
means no.
No. Yeah, exactly.
But it could mean yes.
Yeah. Intuition is a big deal, man. And I love that you said that because, I just imagined the arrows and they were all being carried by butterflies. But I immediately put a choice up and I saw which way they went.
Yeah.
That's such a cool exercise.
Yeah,
I like that.
It really works. And sometimes, and the other thing that I do for intuition, I write before I go to my bed, if I have something that's burning and pressing, I write a question to God. So I'll write a letter to God or an email. Sometimes
of course, he would write an email to God.
Yes, I write an email to God.
At God.com.
Yeah,
okay,
so I do God at the universe and all that is good and blah, blah, blah. So that it's definitely going to be. It don't go anywhere, you know? So I send it because some of the things I'm writing, oh God. Yeah. So, and then I write this, so what do I do, blah, blah, blah. By the time I wake up in the morning, sometimes I'm not even thinking about it, but usually there's clarity.
Right.
There's clarity there. And I remember one particular instant when I wrote something, and I definitely got a dream. I saw a person's name, and there was a big red X in the name. I was just like, no, don't go in that direction. I was just like,
well, that's the beauty about sleep. You know, your subconscious mind gets to work, and it's every bit real. Life is but a dream. And it's really still guiding you along. I really believe that. I mean, there are people who study that, like numerology, dreams, all this stuff is all astrology. This is all stuff, in my opinion, placed in this awesome universe by our awesome source. And it's like such a sin to not use up all of these things to help us. Meditation. What if it's a pillar method? If it is envisioning arrows, you know, all of these things came here. Like I was talking to a friend of mine who is an astrologer, and she was like, you know, Tami, astrology was the first psychology because it helped people to understand why they were who they are. It's not this frivolous thing you see in the back of magazines. That's the pop culture of horoscopes and astrology. But when you look into what astrology is, and the planets and the signs, it's like, of course our creator created this because it's intricate and it's just like unreal.
Yeah, it's clear.
It's Fibonacci sequence. Like,
exactly.
Why does that happen?
Right.
Because we have a mathematical God. We have a scientific God.
Yeah.
We have an astrological God. Like, meaning there's room for all of that to be here.
All of it.
And we can't be well, we can choose what we like and discard, but we can't discard that it is here.
True.
And
True.
And for a
all of them
purpose.
are connected in a particular way. We just don't know all of that way yet. So at some place, the astronomy and astrology and science and spirituality and Christ, all of them are one thing that we just haven't yet accessed.
And they are available to us.
And they're available to us
and
if we are available for
good.
it.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for our good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Life is but a dream.
Yeah.
Ain't it though?
Yeah.
What do with though?
What does she usually say? We've enjoyed our.
Oh yes,
immensely. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely.
Time for segment of refreshment. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. Time for segment of refreshment. Indeed.
This was nice, guys.
Yeah,
this was
really
awesome.
Nice.
Thank you.
Cool. Woo! What fun. Boy, I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as we did. We can laughy. Anyway, as usual, guys, please share this episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make comments, reviews, all that stuff. Rate it. We're back here next week.